what do you do and how long have you been doing it for? So what do you do and how long have you been doing it for? So what do you do and how long have you been doing it for?
I own a restaurant company. Well, we have 68 restaurants, 1,300 employees. You need to develop the muscle of stick-to-itiveness, resolve, persistence, focus.
Actually, the restaurant that I was still moonlighting at the time offered me a full-time manager position with a better salary than what I was making.
So
Take more chances, be more open to new experiences, and travel more.
Welcome back, Grove Street family. We are live in downtown Nashville, here asking professionals, CEOs, and current corporate workers what they do for a living here, how much they earn, and their best advice and strategies for all of you watching at home. I hope you guys enjoy. What do you do and how long have you been doing it for?
I own a restaurant company. I've been in the restaurant industry since I was 20 years old, so
Wow.
a long time.
So how did you get started in this space?
You know, just out of school, I joined a restaurant company as kind of an assistant manager, so in operations, and that was the beginning.
Yeah, and how's that evolved to now? What does your business look like?
Well, we have 68 restaurants,
Wow.
1,300 employees,
Oh my goodness, okay.
and very successful enterprise. And so, but it's a journey. You don't get there overnight, clearly.
And what's the most amount of revenue you generate in a year?
It's a privately held company, so I'm not going to talk to.
Okay, no worries. And for some,
number.
yeah, is it 7 figures?
It's a big number.
But for someone who's, a 20-year-old like you were back then, or someone who wants to start their own career, what advice do you have for them on going and taking this risk and trying to be something, maybe bigger than they think they can be?
I think it's really important to who you hook your wagon to. Hook up with a successful company or successful people, and where you can learn and grow and be mentored. Companies that are profitable, growing, making a difference, and then stay there for a while.
Is that what you did when you were younger?
Yeah.
So what was your pathway from like that 20 to like 30-year-old kind of time frame? How did you evolve from entry level to where you are now?
I at that point in my career, I was with Pepsi.
Okay.
And Pepsi owned restaurants, and I got in the corporate executive grooming, training, tutelage process, and so I moved from 10 times during that. But I was with the right company. I was advancing. I was making more money. I was learning, and I was getting promoted, taking on new responsibilities. I was young, and so I wasn't doing anything entrepreneurial necessarily, but I was taking a chance on me. And so I think the biggest mistake young people make is that they pollinate too many flowers. They need to find the right pasture and stick in that pasture a little longer.
Definitely. Any last message you have that you want young people to know? Like one last thing you have to say to everyone watching this video?
Yeah, I think success comes to those that work through the challenges. And I think one of the attributes of people that don't arrive where they want to go is they develop the muscle of quitting. And you need to develop the muscle of stick-to-itiveness, resolve, persistence, focus. And that's going to mean climbing through some challenging things. And people, inevitably, the path to success isn't paved with wonderful celebrations always. It's a hard path sometimes, and that requires somebody that has a level of stick-to-itiveness that sometimes is unique, unfortunately. Well, sometimes it's okay to quit, but don't become a quitter.
Okay.
And you can become a quitter by practicing it a lot. So there are tough situations where you want to quit, that if you just stay a little bit longer and out-survive this person, that structure, this bad situation, you're going to get to the other side. And so that's been my career. Been plenty of times where I didn't always love the person I was reporting to or the situation I was in, but you stick around longer and that situation changes, right?
So what do you do and how long have you been doing it for?
I work for a wine and spirits wholesaler.
Okay.
I sell alcohol to bars and restaurants,
Yeah.
and I've been doing it for 5 years now.
And how did you get into this career?
I was in the hospitality industry for a long time. I ran restaurants prior to doing this, so I was already kind of familiar with the process and all that sort of thing. So,
did you go to college for a career like this, or how did you, when you were 22, 23, how did you go from there to where you are now?
I did go to college, but not for hospitality or for the career that I have now.
So what did you go to college for?
I have a degree in journalism.
Okay, so how did you go from being a journalism major to now running restaurants, being a wholesaler in wine and spirits? How did that trajectory take place?
Sure. So I graduated college, and I'd always worked in restaurants during college. I worked as a server and a bartender during college. And when I graduated college, I started working in local television news as an associate producer.
Wow.
And was working overnights, and the pay was terrible, and the hours were terrible. And actually, the restaurant that I was still moonlighting at the time offered me a full-time manager position with a better salary than what I was making.
So that was a pretty easy move there, huh?
It was pretty, and then I got trapped in the restaurant industry for 20 years.
So what is the biggest thing that you've learned while being in the restaurant industry so far?
It's much tougher now post-COVID than it was before, just because it's just the financials of restaurants require so many people to do more than what they were expected to prior to that, just due to the costs and everything associated with operating a restaurant and keeping it profitable.
Yeah, and then it makes me wonder, do you recommend this kind of career to someone who's fresh out of college, or someone who's in school right now, or maybe someone who's in high school?
It could be a fulfilling career for sure, absolutely. Hospitality is great work, especially if you enjoy working with people, working with the public. But yeah, it can definitely be fulfilling work for sure.
Why do you love it?
It's just something different every day. You get to
Nice.
You get to interact with a lot of different people. It's not dull. There's never a boring moment, that's for sure.
Fast-paced.
Fast-paced, definitely, yeah. And for people who maybe a desk job's not their calling, then this is a great alternative.
Definitely. And I guess my last question for you today is, if you had one piece of advice for anyone, even to your younger self, what would that piece of advice be for navigating your professional career?
Take more chances, be more open to new experiences, and travel more.
So what do you do, and how long have you been doing it for?
I'm a financial analyst and just over 2 years.
Wow, okay, so what made you get into the financial space and down here in Nashville?
I got into finance because I was good at math and I like working with people, so finance is the intersection of those two things. Yeah. And I wound up in Nashville because our company has a large office here.
Okay, got you. So when did you graduate from college?
I graduated from college in the spring of 2022.
Okay, so now it's been about 2 years. So in these last 2 years, what have you really learned about starting a career in finance? Like, what have been the main takeaways of your career so far?
The ability to learn things really quickly and pick up on things really quickly are going to make you more valuable to your team, because everyone's always changing roles or getting promotions or taking on new responsibilities, and you have to be able to show that you can learn things quickly and then immediately start adding value.
Definitely. And for you, was there a specific moment that you feel like you've been climbing, doing really well in your role? How have you progressed in your role so far in these last 2 years?
Yeah, so I think in my first 2 years, I had 4 different managers. So each time I had a manager turn over, I had to help them get up to speed on certain things. And that additional responsibility for me meant that I had to really know what I was talking about and accelerate my learning in that topic as well.
Yeah, and I think, that makes me wonder, when it came to recruiting for a role like this, what best advice do you have that worked for yourself or that can work for someone else who's in college right now or maybe just graduated?
Be willing to talk to anybody. Your network is everything, and even if you don't think someone is going to be able to get you a job at their company, they'll probably know somebody that they can put you in touch with or someone else who could help you out.
Yeah, and then I think one question I have for you as well is, if someone's at home right now, what's an actionable step that they can do to get one step closer to their dream role?
Start looking on LinkedIn or asking friends who they know and getting in touch with anybody who's willing to talk to you.
Definitely. Then my last question for you is, what can we expect from you in the future, and what goals do you have for yourself personally to grow in your professional career?
My goals are, I want to be a senior leader at a large company.
So what do you do, and how long have you been doing it for?
Work in IT recruitment, so working for the past 3.5 years or so back home. So
who do you recruit?
Basically IT professionals from solution architects, director level, kind of management and consulting roles as well. So wide range.
And what is the number one thing you look for in a candidate when you're hiring someone trying to build out these teams?
Communication skills, that's always the main thing. If someone can't communicate, there's not really any real hope.
You could be the best candidate ever, but if you can't articulate what you're doing, then it's not going to work. So for you, how did you get involved in the career recruitment space to begin with?
I kind of fell into it. I actually had a job in Dubai to be a financial advisor when I finished college. I actually went to college here.
Wow.
I was during the COVID pandemic, so this kind of just fell into place. I kind of just offered it one day.
Yeah, so, and then even when you're doing that now, so you said you lived in Dubai, and now you're living in, now where you live, you're living here, or where are you based out of?
I live in Northern Ireland still. That job was in Dubai, but that didn't come off because of the COVID pandemic. So no, I live back home in Northern Ireland. So.
Yeah, and how did you get a job offer in Dubai to start off? Like, how does that happen to someone living so far away from that kind of country?
Yeah, no, I just applied to it and did like 2 or 3 interview processes. And yeah, it was kind of simple as that.
And what are the kind of the biggest takeaways that you've learned so far in your professional life? Because, we want to ask questions to people to give advice to people who are in college right now, who just graduated, and who are a little bit confused in their career, kind of pathway.
Yeah.
So what have been your biggest takeaways about careers and professional growth?
The main thing I would say is ask questions. I probably made that mistake initially, not asking enough questions, not really knowing what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Speak to people that are higher up, professors, etc., and so on. That really, have their life on track at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
See where the high-paying roles are. Kind of your motivations are probably the main thing out of everything.
What can someone do right now, whether they're at home, whether they're at school, to make themselves a better candidate or make themselves, someone who can have a better chance at success? What do you think someone can do right now?
So right now, do research. Just don't sit at home and just play your Xbox or whatever. And obviously you can do that if you want, but in a lot of your free time, make sure you're reading, make sure you're reading up on things that are happening around the world, because professions change every few years. Like right now, machine learning.
My last question is, as you go on into your future, right? What are you looking to achieve, and what is your kind of plan of action to become the person that you want to be going down the line?
I just want to be in a position where I'm taking charge of a certain recruitment role. It's leading candidates, leading clients, and being the kind of one that they come to me first. Which I think I'm getting there at the moment, but that thing takes time. And being open about everything I really do. So I'm more than happy to do this.
So I love it, man. So we got it. So what do you do, and how long have you been doing it for?
I'm a group reservations coordinator at Omni Hotels. I just started there almost a year ago, and then prior to that I did front office. So especially with that industry, that's where you're most likely going to start off. Food and beverage, front office, then you're going to move your way up.
Yeah.
Honestly, you don't really need a hotel degree to get into the hotel industry either.
Yeah.
I really love what I do. It gives me Monday through Friday, my weekends, holidays off. That's the goal, right?
Yeah. How did you get started in this space? Like, did you start after college? Did you go to college? What's your career path?
No, there's nothing in college I wanted to do. There's nothing with my life that required a college degree, which would be a doctor, lawyer, nurse, anything like that. First, I started off in the restaurant industry, and I got tired of that after COVID.
Yeah.
And so then I explored hotels and absolutely fell in love with it because it's still hospitality.
So for someone who wants to have a career in the hospitality industry, or someone who's in college right now, or maybe right before so, and wants to have a career in this kind of space, what advice do you have for them to kind of crack in and do a good job and grow fast?
Well, Omni has over 52 properties, so just find one and do an internship while you're in college. We do it every summer, and it's absolutely wonderful. You get the exposure you need, especially if you're doing a hospitality tourism degree.
Yeah. And then my last question for you is, if you could go back to when you were 21 years old or 20 years old and figure out, what you would do differently regarding your professional career, your professional life, is there anything you do differently?
I would have got out of the restaurant industry a lot quicker.
Okay.
If I knew COVID was going to come,
Yeah.
I would have got out a long time ago and then found a more solid, get to where I am now.
Definitely. Well, all right, man. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
You have a great weekend.
You too. What do you do, and how long have you been doing it for?
I'm events coordinator, 8 years.
Wow, so where do you coordinate events for?
Martin's Barbecue across the street.
Okay, how did you get into a career like this?
I've been in the restaurant industry for 20 years.
And what's the biggest thing you've learned from being in this industry?
You just gotta be flexible and nice to everybody.
If you could go back to when you were in college, what would you do differently or do the same?
Stick to my career plan,
Which was
chemistry.
chemistry. Then how'd you get into this space right now?
Just bartending on the side.
Yeah.
When I was in school.
Well, do you have what's the best piece of advice you ever received or got from a mentor or a boss, someone in your life?
Make sure you have a work-life balance.